Hi, I'm Hamid Abbasi, a KM expert. In a series of knowing more about ISO 30401 about knowledge management, now we're going to talk about knowledge management culture. What is its definition and its importance to implement and assimilate knowledge management system in the organization. As you can see here, it's the ISO 30401 standard structure. You can see organization, infrastructure, and also knowledge management system. And what we are going to talk about, it is knowledge management culture that is located here. As it is shown here, we can call knowledge management culture a kind of infrastructure for KMS, the system of assimilating knowledge management in the organization. First, we must know what is knowledge management enablers. According to the ISO 30401, the enablers of the knowledge management first is human capital. The second one is the processes. The third one is the technology. The fourth one is the governance, and at the end, the fifth one is KM culture. So, as it is obvious, KM culture is one of the enablers of knowledge management, beside the other important enablers that helps knowledge management to be implemented through the body of the organization. And without thinking, to define a good KM culture in our organization, we miss out one of the important enablers of knowledge management. Eventually, we could not have a KM system. So, now we want to define what is KM culture. But first, we must know two important things about the organization. First, we must know what is organizational culture, and then we must know what is KM system. According to ISO Human Resource Management 30400, values, beliefs, and practices that influence the conduct and behavior of people and organizations, it is called organizational culture. So all things related to intangible things in our organization, the values, the beliefs, the way we think, the way we practice, the way we respect and conduct through our organization, among the people, among the colleagues, among the employees, it is organizational culture. The second thing is KM system. What is knowledge management system? According to this ISO, the ISO of KM 30401, a KM system is a part of management system with regard to knowledge. It means that the KM system elements include the organization's knowledge management culture, structure, governance, leadership, roles and responsibility, technology, processes, operation, planning, and all things related to organization and knowledge. In other words, the organizational knowledge management system must include and integrate elements of the all following elements and enablers to create a desired, effective knowledge management system. So now, with defining these two important things, we can now define what is KM culture. It is the elements of the organizational culture, supportive of the values, behaviors, activities associated with knowledge management system. So it is a kind of combination between the KM system and the organizational culture. What we define here is adopted from ISO 30401, and what is written here is the KM culture is a supportive element of the organizational culture. It helps organizational culture to be in its good and proper position. So what benefits a KM culture have to people of the organization? Feel comfortable openly discussing issues and offering advice. Share knowledge and information openly and honestly to enhance socialization and flow of knowledge through the organization. It protects the organizational knowledge. People feel empowered to autonomously act on knowledge, and they demonstrate accountability for their own learning and results. They offer their knowledge to others rather than keeping it to themselves. And also, they will collaborate with, rather than compete with, their colleagues. They invest time in reflecting and learning, and then they place value on acquiring new knowledge through their own experiences, success or failure. So many of these elements we mentioned here are interdependent and stick together. And one of the important things we must know here, the development of knowledge management culture does not happen by default, nor in short time. It takes time, but requires a deliberate and active program of interventions to steward it forward the desired state. And also we must know that when these elements are managed in harmony, it results in positive outcomes, including the ability of the organizational to adapt to changing situations. So what are the main factors that affect to have a desired behavioral KM culture? The first thing, it is very important. A good leadership can help to have a desired KM culture. If the leadership of the organization insists on knowledge, insists on transferring and sharing knowledge, we can have a good KM culture in our organization. If there is a trust among our colleagues, the people in the organization, we can have a good desired KM culture. The engagement of the employee to the organization. If there's no engagement, there's no loyalty among the employees, so they do not share their knowledge with each other. Diversity of thinking can help to generate knowledge and can help and aid the organization and people to share their knowledge. Customs and norms. Organization must respect customs and norms of the environment they are working in. So we're respecting the norms and customs. A desired KM culture can be fostered step by step. Policies and procedures. With rigid and restricted policies and procedures, may we restrict people of our organization to transfer and share their knowledge, and maybe to generate a new knowledge. So a good flexible policy and procedure aligned with our KM system can be so helpful to have our desired KM culture. Training and competence level. Training itself can generate knowledge. Training itself can transfer knowledge and experience. So with no training and training procedures in our organization, we might not have a great KM culture, a desired KM culture in our organization. Training methods and procedures and competence levels are one of the fundamental methods and path to a KM culture. Incentives. With no incentives, financial and non-financial incentives, people in the organization do not encourage to share their knowledge and make a KM culture. Physical and digital environment. People must interact with each other to share their knowledge, to generate new knowledge, to transfer their knowledge. And also technology these days can help generating a KM culture. And at the end, organizational structure, I can add here a knowledge structure and knowledge map can help to make a desired KM culture. So what are the approaches to promote the KM culture? First, we must define what is our desired KM culture aligned with the organizational culture. Definition. The second, running a gap analysis. So what is running a gap analysis? A defined desired KM culture and what position, what situation we are now. The difference is the gap, and we must analyze this gap and run a gap analysis. To fill this gap, we must create a plan to address the gaps, and so have an action, implement action, acting upon this plan, and at the end we must revisit and update all previous steps and all procedures we took to see what we have done, what is the best action at all defined intervals. What we're seeing here is that well-known PDCA: thinking, planning, doing, checking, and acting again. What we took was a short introduction about knowledge management culture according to ISO 30401 knowledge management standard. I am Hamid Abbasi and I wish you the best. Goodbye.